share their knowledge of dealing in things. And they're putting their money together and discussing this, and they found the right house, and who should come in the middle of the night but Chezer Nabi with his emerald green cloak and all his paraphernalia, and said to him, give me the money you've earned, which is the part I really like about this story, and go to that small village in the mountains and apprentice yourself to the potter. Or is it the greengrocer? I always change this part of the story. Anyway, shall we go on?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he goes, he gives the money to Chezer, and he goes to the small village in the mountains, and he apprentices himself to the greengrocer, and people come to buy their vegetables and so on, and they talk to the greengrocer, and they pay him, and they talk to the greengrocer's assistant, and then they go away and they feel nice. And then some of the ladies in the village have a headache, and they go to the greengrocer, and they come back from the greengrocer, and their headache's gone. And then someone's sick, and they go to the greengrocer shop, and he isn't there, and they just speak to the assistant, and they go away and they're not sick anymore. And so this becomes a byword in the village, and finally the leaders of the village come to talk to the person, and then even the scholars from other places come. And they examine him, and they ask him to tell them what it is that has brought him to this deep knowledge, and which marvelous teachers he has had, and which theological schools he's studied in. And then he tells them the story of his life. I don't know if you remember it. I could tell it again. Would you like me to tell it? No. And so they make up some story which makes it very important, his life. And they say, well, he's really hiding the truth from us, and he must have studied with this great Peter and with this great teacher and had these tremendous initiatic experiences. And it's simply called The Story of the Man with the Inexplicable Life. And my question out of it is how the primordial man and the kind of alchemist, how they play against each other and with each other in our struggle to become more than just our human self, to discover our natural primordial self and also to discover this godlike self.
Well, anyone who's written a curriculum vitae has grappled with that problem. Okay, gang.
Oh.
That's it. We'll meet here at 3.
One small announcement.
So it is not a metaphor that we are in a state of symbiotic abandonment to our mother. It isn't a symbolic statement at all. It is simply a true statement that we are so far out into the history game that we don't understand this, that our ennui, our existential angst is all because we don't know jack shit about what's going on. And the reason we don't is because we have accepted prohibitions against finding out what's going on. We are infantile, as a matter of fact. Our whole spiritual engine of transcendence is infantile. It rests on the daddy figure, who is the priest, the guru, the wise man, some beady-eyed character from Bengal or elsewhere who's going to just straighten us all out. There is a complete kind of wrong-headedness that we have inherited as part of our historical legacy. It's that we do not value direct experience. We do not trust ourselves. We do not pay attention to the immediate input from the living world. We are always casting away from ourselves. What do the experts say? What did Buddha say? What did Plato say? What did somebody on the other side of the world? What are they saying now? We give ourselves away. And the reason is because we are bereft. You know that phenomenon of the 40-year-old guy with the sports car and 3 marriages behind him? This guy is desperate. He is bereft. I always think of that amazing phrase in Lady Chatterley's Lover, where Constance Chatterley faces the fact that she is, as she says in the book, to be had for the taking. And to some degree, we all have reached such a state of spiritual bereavement and abandonment that we are to be had for the taking. And this makes us susceptible. It makes us marks, to use a word that's dear to William Burroughs. Shamanism is an effort to get outside the carny midway, to actually walk between the tents and to discover the cool night that is going on away from the sound of the change makers and the barkers. And this, it has to do, I maintain, and I become less and less tolerant of any other view, which is either a sign that I'm slowly losing my mind, or I'm slowly eventually I'll just be like John Lilly, I just won't give a shit, really say what I think. But I really believe that authentic shamanism is psychedelic shamanism. And then people say, and nobody's said it yet, but it's okay to say it, can't you get there some other fasting? That I'm not saying that you can't push consciousness around, and I'm not saying that you cannot induce psycholytic states of self-recognition, states of abandonment of neurotic behavior patterns and that sort of thing. Certainly these things happen, but this informing impossible mystery, this thing which need not exist at all, so far as we can tell, it is entirely a gratuitous mystery, this informing sense of the other that approaches us with poetry and jeweled machines and visionary vistas of the far future and lost races in space and biological destinies possible but untried, that is not approachable any other way. And I think, that all this lineage mumbo-jumbo and the close holding of secrets means you don't have a strong hand. If you're holding your hand close to your chest, it's because you're afraid to play it. And the shamanism that is happening at the most primitive cultural level is shamanism that is willing to show its hand. I mean, they don't tell you that you're not pure enough or celibate enough or haven't mastered textual proficiency enough. They just say, yes, come with us into the woods, and we will show you what we know. And what we know is that we don't know nothing. And this is how we found that out. We found it out by putting ourselves at the mercy of something that we absolutely cannot understand, something which cannot be boiled down to serve ideology. This horse cannot be broken. Any priest who tries to ride it will be thrown for a loop. Any politician who tries to ride it will be trampled beneath it. It is a true mystery. And the male ego, that reductionist, Newtonian, Cartesian, positivist approach, always pushes for closure. There is never satisfaction unless there is explanation. And yet explanation is a fool's game. Anybody can create an explanation. The history of thought is the history of one cockeyed explanation after another, which is immediately perceived as ludicrous once it becomes outmoded. So the mystery is not an unsolved problem. It is a true mystery. Nobody knows what is going on. I don't think any tradition has taken the measure of this or operates in the light of it. The people who actually handle the molten alchemical ore that pours out of the furnaces of hyperspace have very little to say about it, have no interpretation to offer. It's the public relations people and the priestcraft people and the people who have a book they're selling. They are just full of information, explanation, denunciation, adoration, so forth, and so on. But the people who stand close to the mystery are silent. And what